Arch Analytics project. This question is aligned with the previous question to Ms. Aileen. You can share your experience, your challenges when managing different teams or interdisciplinary fields related to data analytics.
Hi. Okay. So I think our team work very closely to the audit team. So like most of our project are with the audit team, and our not really main problem, but most of like our difficulties are when we need to close the bridge between the two knowledge of IT and also audit. Because me myself, I am from a computer science background. I have no finance background at all. So like when I first joined the meeting with the audit team, they throw all this finance jargon that I can't understand. So I think one of the team initiative is that we open if there's any auditors that want to join our team. So by having these kind of people in our team, we kind of like meet them as like our middlemen. So whenever like I need help, like I don't understand what this means. So sometimes we need that kind of help. So we have these people that will like close the bridge between like the two teams. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
A very good morning to everyone. Pleasure to be here today. So for that question, I think at EY, from a leadership perspective, I think in establishing this FAR team and also witnessing the growth we have in a couple of years, right, is really that it's very supportive environment for us to come up with all these analytics or automation initiative. So in a way, we are always thinking about what does the market need at the moment, what does our client need, what are our internal needs, which is what Hari also described in quite detail, what we do to help to automate some of these audit procedures. So I think we are always having that support when we want to do something, because everything that we want to do comes to analytics is usually something very new, right? So it needs to have people to believe in that it will work, it will help us, it will save time, it will create value. And I think what helps us is because of this top-down support that we have. And I'm not really speaking out of a Malaysian context. I think in globally as well, you read a lot of news about EY putting investments in AI and all that. And recently, I think earlier this year, we established an AI lab as well. So there's a lot of all these initiatives that support us to do all these things that we want to try. And we are also in a supportive environment where we feel like even if we try and we fail, we still learn something. So I think that really would explain how we're approaching all the analytics, automation, or AI initiative. Thank you.
Because in this lecture theatre, we have our future leaders, future business analysts, future data analysts, software engineers, perhaps, yeah. So for that, from an HR perspective, how has the demand for business analytics professionals evolved in the past few years based on your experience? And what trends are shaping the future hiring landscape?
Hello everyone, and thank you Ms. Mogna for inviting us here to be amongst this young and cheerful crowd. I think today I'm the only non-analyst here on this panel, but I'm from an HR background completely, but having worked across with so many hiring managers and leaders across different functions, maybe I'll share a little bit about my experience regarding this topic. So in the past, how analyst has evolved is primarily it was a diagnostic kind of function. It was a descriptive kind of function, all about reporting, dashboards, and all of those things. You know, answering things which have already happened in the past. And then it slowly moved on to being more diagnostic, answering why a certain thing happened, to now being predictive, what might happen in the future, and then now moving on to being more prescriptive in the sense that, what can we do with that information that we have based on all of the insights and the trends. And now with the advancements in AI, a large part, a technical part of analyzing the data would primarily become automated, right? So now with most of that information, the analysis part becoming automated, what primarily are the people who will get more premiums are people who are asking the right questions in context of the business, people who are able to take actions based on the insights that have been gathered. So you might have in the future, by the time you guys start working, you might have agents in your team who are actually analyzing all the data. And what you would be required to then do is have the skill of asking the right questions in context of business, looking at what impact this can bring, what business value can you all drive, right? So I think in the future, the skill sets that would be important, according to me, would be people who are more of like consultants rather than people who are, coders, and people who are able to partner with AI rather than compete with it. I think this is the set of people that would really be successful in the next 5 years if we see. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eva. And then I think do you use most in your day-to-day work? And you can also share your experience using those tools and programming languages and some pros and cons.
Right, thank you for the question, Dr. Morgana. So in my current work in EY, I've always been a very hardcore coder actually. I use Python, SQL and stuff. So for us to do the coding. But currently in our team, we actually use this platform called Alteryx. Not sure if many of you have heard of this software, but it is actually not open source software. So many of us do not get access, and it is actually very expensive, for us to use. But this is the tool that we mostly, I would say probably 90% in our team, and most of the time we all use this software to actually build workflows, automated workflow. So Alteryx is actually an automated and also data science / kind of tool that is actually over there. So what it does is that, it is actually very intuitive tool, and it also low code tool. Well, if you want to use Python, yes you can. You can also drag and drop the Python tool, and then you can do your coding inside there. So it is actually very versatile, and then you can schedule and stuff, so that you do not have to connect it with an Apache Airflow and stuff for you to, schedule a workflow and stuff. So it is very versatile and very good. Other than that, we also use tools such as Power BI. If you're, as a data analyst, you must know, especially in business analytics, you must know how to use Power BI, and then you should be able to, we do sometimes use SQL, because in this Alteryx is actually built upon a Python code actually, and there are some functions and everything that you will be using. It is actually very much related to how you write a Python code or how you write a SQL code. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing about the programming languages and common tools. You can share your experience on the future of business analytics for the students to explore their career.
Thanks for the question. I think what I would foresee is that a lot of companies will now start wanting to do business analytics or data analytics, and more would want to do so probably in the next 3 to 5 years. What I've seen is probably when I started working, I don't see all this Alteryx or Power BI. Back then in those days, if you want to analyze data, it's all in Excel, and you try to draw your own charts, put them into PowerPoint, right? It's very basic. But if you look at even data analytics today, it's evolving. It's going to be very different. It's a lot faster to do. You can consume larger volume of data. But what most companies are not doing at the moment, they're sitting on all this data, and they're not doing anything about it, because currently I think there's no skill set in people that they're hiring, right, to do this. And what's going to happen in the future is with graduates like yourself, we will then now have people with this skill set. So I think they're going to integrate a lot of graduates like yourself to start looking at all this data, which is very useful, because if they can make patterns out of it, understand it, it can actually drive forecasting, decision making for them, and it's actually going to be supportable by data, which is a lot better than making decision making based on a hunch, right? So that could be what has been done in the past. And one of the examples, so I specialize in my domain knowledge would be in insurance, because I've been auditing insurance for a long time. So one of the things that it's affecting the industry right now that you guys may have heard is the medical claims are increasing. Any one of you with a medical insurance would also receive notification about premium increase and all that. So now what I've seen is a lot of my clients are only now thinking about, well, then how do I analyze all these medical claims that I have in the past, and they're actually hiring people to do that. So people with analytic skill set to now go in, look at the data, and start analyzing and see what they could see from there. So of course, in this case, it is something more detective, right? Something has happened and you look at it. So I think the trend in the future would probably move not using something that's looking at historical in the past, and how do we then use analytics to predict the future. So from being probably looking at the past, becoming more forward-looking and predictive. Thank you.
Right, interesting. Thanks for sharing the examples. Because one of the time is they have to come up with a problem statement. They have to select a domain to find sample data, a secondary data, and then perform analysis to find a solution for the problem. So it's good that you shared people are looking for analysts in the field of medical data, insurance, claiming, and audit, finance, and so on. Yeah, and we do have other domains as well. Not only finance. When it comes to BA, it's interdisciplinary. It's applicable on any field like engineering, social science, science. Okay, so being a business analyst, the main advantage is you can end up in any domain in the future. it depends on your interest, Try to correlate with my question in class yesterday. What's your ambition? You can think about it. All right. Okay, my next question to Musfira. Most important for someone looking to lead an analytics team, especially for those who are non-coders. Okay, they learn coding, but they don't want to do the programming work, But they can lead a team. Maybe they can become a consultant. They can manage a project by becoming a project manager. What are the main leadership qualities they must possess?
Thank you for the question. I think main leadership quality is always be very open to learn. So I think even for fresh graduate, your learning doesn't stop when you graduate. Your career will evolve over time. As a data scientist, if you're not very interested to code, then you probably could be leading a team that's doing the coding, but you need to understand the context, the objective of what we're trying to do, and drive the project in that direction. Actually, what Dr. Morgana described is pretty much what I am doing, because I graduated in accounting. I'm a chartered accountant, I'm not a data scientist. But I lead this team with people who's doing all this fantastic work, right? And I honestly wouldn't know what Moose is coding, but I'm able to understand what is the project, we're trying to achieve, and other way we can still speak a common language to achieve the common goal. And I think what is interesting is that in FAR team, in EY, all of us are from very different disciplines, right? So I am from accounting background, I have a couple from accounting background, we have someone from actuarial science, we have an engineer. So all of us comes from different background, and what I find is very useful is that because the team is so diverse, they bring together very interesting thoughts when it comes to problem solving. So the problem is, so because of the nature of our team, so we're very unique, right? We either help internal stakeholders to automate certain things, or we are helping client to do certain projects. So we have the role of either you do some internal projects, or you want to be a consultant, you can be a consultant on external project, but no matter what project we're doing, we're trying to solve a problem for the end user. And to solve that problem, what is also important, why I say is you have to be very open to learning, because sometimes it involves certain knowledge that we do not know. So a lot of works that we initially do is for the financial services industry. So that's the banking client, insurance client, and asset management. So what happened is with people like Hari, Moose, they join and suddenly I put them in a certain domain that they don't understand, then they have to be very open to learn about that industry as well. So like personally for myself, because I've audited insurance for so long, that's like my domain knowledge, but I have also have to learn, like if you're doing a project for banking, how does this impact the client? And all this knowledge, right, it's something that is very important, because we need to do the right thing when we're trying to do analytics or automation and come to the right outcome. And for that, we need to be very open to learning and be very curious and ask questions. So I find that asking questions sometimes is something not everyone is very good at, right? But the real situation is you need to ask if you don't understand. I do ask a lot of questions in the industry that I'm not familiar with because I'm specialized in insurance. So it's important to always be open. I feel like even after working for so long, I view my career as a lifelong learning journey. That's why I still want to be with EY and still want to do all these new things, and we're empowered to do all these new things. So to summarize that, I think it's very important to be curious, right? Be focused in what you're doing and just ask questions to gain more knowledge. I think the key thing is it's a lifelong learning thing. Just be open to learn as much as you can.
Thanks. We can expect humans working along robots. Most probably when these young champs are gonna enter their career world soon, in 2 to 3 years time. Yeah, so you can share your experience.
Okay, so I think across my whole career, adaptability is really, really important. There's two types of adaptability, which is your surrounding adaptability, which is the domain that you're working in. For example, now I'm in finance. I remember when I first joined, I literally was, I'm not saying like, kind of like a panic, like, because like 3 days after I joined, then I joined a meeting with a client and I don't understand a single thing. I remember at that time I pinged Eileen a lot. What are they saying? I don't understand. So like, this feeling will never go away. So like when you join a new company or a new department, there's always going to be new things that you have to adapt with. And you have to, like, I agree with Hari, you have to ask questions a lot so you can understand what's going on. And second thing is technology adaptation. So even though like I think 7 years of working sounds not too long, but I actually been through a technology, how to say, migration 4 times now. So like when I first joined, we were using SQL, and then just 2 years after I joined, they changed to Azure. Then like after Azure, I have to adapt with SAP. Now we don't really use specific database. Mostly we work with Excel, but that is something new. I don't even though I know all these other tool stuff, but to be honest, I don't know Excel. So it was kind of like new things for me to explore as well. So there's always going to be a technology adaptation that you need to face it, you like it or not. It is something that happened in the IT industry. Because I would say every 5 years or 2 years or even 3 years, there's always something new that's going to come out, and you have to learn that technology, or else then you're going to be left behind. That is something that you have to face it when you work in IT. So, yeah.